A very happy morning to all. I welcome you all for a 3-day national level symposium on Culture Connect from May 17th to 19th, 2021. Most respected conveners of this program, Dr. N. Bhuvaneshwari, Principal of Arulmigu Palaniyandavar Arts College for Women, Palani, and Professor M. H. Shah, Principal of Government Degree College, Poonch, Jammu and Kashmir, and respected organizing secretaries, myself, I am Lieutenant Dr. R. Kalayarasi, working as a Director of Physical Education, Associate NCC Officer, and Nodal Officer of EBSB, that is Ek Bharat Shasht Bharat Club, Arulmigu Palaniyandavar Arts College for Women, Palani, Dindigul, Tamil Nadu. And my co-organizing secretary, Dr. Yogesh Kumar Sharma, Assistant Professor in Philosophy, an NCC Officer and Nodal Officer of EBSB Club, Government Degree College, Poonch. And most respected resource persons, a very happy day and very good morning to all. I am Lieutenant Dr. R. Kalayarasi, working as a Director of Physical Education, Associate NCC Officer and Nodal Officer of Ek Bharat Shasht Bharat Club, Arulmigu Palaniyandavar Arts College for Women, Palani, Dindigul, Tamil Nadu. I am very glad to invite our Principal Madam, Dr. N. Bhuvaneshwari, for delivering a special address. Please, ma'am.
Honorable Principal of Government College, Poonch, respected resource persons hailing from Tamil Nadu and Jammu and Kashmir, dear faculty and participants of both the states, good morning. I find it a privilege and honor to welcome you all and introduce the theme of the program, Culture Connect, between the two states which are far away from each other. The initiative Ek Bharat Shasht Bharat was announced by Honorable Prime Minister on 31st October 2015 on the occasion of 140th birth anniversary of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. Through this innovative measure, the knowledge of the culture, traditions and practices of different states and union territories will lead to an enhanced understanding and bonding between the states, thereby strengthening the unity and integrity of India. There is no country like India, quite as diverse, multilingual and multicultural, yet bound together by the ancient bonds of shared traditions, culture and values. Such bonds need to be strengthened through enhanced and continuous mutual interaction between people of varied regions and ways of life, so that it encourages reciprocity and secures an enriched value system of unity amongst people of different states in a culturally special country like India. We are fortunate to pair ourselves with a well-known institution in Jammu and Kashmir, that's Government Degree College, Poonch. It gives me immense pleasure to convene a 3-day national level symposium on Culture Connect from 17/5/21 to 19/5/21. I am extremely honored and pleased indeed to welcome the most distinguished Principal of Government Degree College, Poonch, Professor Musharraf Hussain Shah. I also take this opportunity to appreciate the organizing secretaries of this program, Dr. Kalayarasi of APA College for Women and Dr. Yogesh Kumar Sharma of Government Degree College, Poonch, for taking their a great effort. I am very grateful to all the resource persons for gracious acceptance to moderate this program. Dr. Badma Shri, Assistant Professor, JA College, Dr. Vijay Shanti, Assistant Professor, Fatima College, Mr. Sharmila, Assistant Professor, Ledido College, Professor Sishad Bonde, Head, Department of History, Government Degree College, Poonch, Professor Lalit Mangotra, the President of Dogdi Shasta Jammu, H.M. Shahini, Convener, Inter Jammu Chapter. The students of APA College and Government Degree College, really you are all fortunate to be participants of this program. Once again, I wish the program a grand success. Thank you.
Thank you, madam, for delivering such a wonderful special address. Next, I am very happy to invite the Principal, Professor Musharraf Hussain Shah, Government Degree College, Poonch, Jammu and Kashmir, India, to deliver a special address. Please, sir.
Dr. N. Bhuvaneshwari, Principal AP College Arts, Women, Tamil Nadu, Physical Director and in charge, ESB Club, Ek Bharat, Srisht Bharat Club, AP College Women, Tamil Nadu, and NCC Officer and in charge, Ek Bharat, Srisht Bharat Club, Government Degree College, Punch, our guest speakers and my dear students from both the colleges, Government Degree College Punch and AP College Arts Women Tamil Nadu. It's my pleasure to be here before you to share my thoughts and ideas about a very important scheme that has been initiated by the Government of India with an objective to strengthen the unity and integrity of the country, this great country. And the theme has been, chosen as Ek Bharat, Shrisht Bharat. As you already know, that India is a vast country where the people follow various religions. It has a rich cultural heritage and ethnicity. People speak various languages and dialects. But despite all this, India is one nation. The people have respect and love for each other. And this Ek Bharat, Shrisht Bharat scheme basically is a program which strengthens this unity and integrity and this mutual respect for each other. This program was initiated by our Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi Sahab, where the states and the union territories of India are expected to exchange the various customs and practices. And this program is expected to promote and signify the customs and identity of particular states and union territories, and is also expected to enhance mutual love and respect for each other. This will encourage brotherhood and integrity among diverse communities and the diverse cultures. India is a country that is rich in culture and heritage. It is the most diverse country all over the globe. However, unity among the citizens is a unique feature of this country. In view of strengthening this unity, the Honorable Prime Minister has launched this program Ek Bharat Shrisht Bharat on 31st October 2015, and this was launched on the occasion of 31st anniversary of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel was a great freedom fighter of India who served as the Deputy Prime Minister, and his role in integrating various states would be written in golden words in the history of India. He was a very strong personality, and he visualized India as a big nation, and he was well aware of the fact that India can become a big nation only when there is an integration of all the states. As you already know, that India remained under the control of the Britishers for quite some time. There were independent states controlled by Maharajas and Nawabs, and it was the unique role of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, who integrated this diverse country to make it one strong nation. We salute to his role, and we salute to the contribution that he has made in the integration of this nation. The program involves the mutual exchange of culture between the different states and the union territories of India. This will be held from time to time. This will ensure a good sense of unity and integrity in the whole country. This will also help the people to accept and promote their own culture and identity. This program recognizes the rich culture of people in a particular area. People who are unaware of their own culture will get to know about their own and respect each other's culture. The scheme initially was controlled by many departments, ministries, and the government of India was very serious in initiating this kind of program, as it is desperately required in the present circumstances to enforce that unity, that integrity which is desperately required. in the present situation. As you already know, that India has the most diversified culture and languages. There are as many as 1075 languages and dialects which are spoken in different states and the union territories. One will observe the difference after traveling just a few a few kilometers. You will find the difference in the culture and in the languages, and this is the uniqueness of our country. India has recognized 22 languages and the dialects. However, the opportunity is given to all the people of India to enrich their own language, improve their own cultures, and share their own traditions and work for them. However, most of the population in India, you see, on the parameter of religion, that there is diversity of religion in India, and the majority of the people, they pursue Hinduism, which is followed by Islam, Sikhism, and Christianity, and some people are atheist also. Despite all the religious differences, there is unity among all the people, and India is a secular country, does not promote any specific religion. Equal opportunities given to all the people of India to pursue their own religion with complete freedom and with their own choice. The Ek Bharat Shresth Bharat program is expected to enforce that unity among the people, and is expected to exchange the traditions and cultures of various states. In this way, the citizens of different states and the union territories would get to know about their glorious history, their customs, the traditions, philosophies, cuisines, and other differences, and also respect all the cultures, religions, and traditions of other states and other regions. This is expected to enforce and ensure peaceful coexistence among the people of India. As we all know, India has many people who pursue different kind of traditions and different kind of customs, and despite all that, they respect the customs and traditions which are being pursued by other people. We are very happy that the state of Jammu and Kashmir has been paired with the union territory of Jammu and Kashmir has been paired with the state of Tamil Nadu, and both the states are having rich cultural heritage. In the state of Jammu and Kashmir, the people very strongly follow Sufism, and there are many shrines of the Sufi saints all over the states in Kashmir, in Jammu, and in every nook and corner of the state, and where which are shared by all the people belonging to all the religions, and they are open to everybody. Hazrat Bal Dargah is very famous and known all over the state, and similarly we have got Buddha Amarnath in Kashmir, which is visited by thousands of people from all over India and also abroad. Similarly, at the local level, we have many shrines in Jammu, and similarly in Udhampur, in Doda, and in Rajouri Punch region also, where people visit these places. And we have got unique cultural traditions also. Many festivals are organized in Kashmir. Winter sports are organized there, and similarly you have got various programs which are organized in relation to water sports in the valley of Kashmir, and similarly in Jammu region we have got various spots where traditionally the melas are organized, and cultural programs are also presented on these occasions. And we have got the rich cultural diversity, as well as many languages are being spoken. Kashmiri, Dogri, then Sheena language is spoken here, Ladakhi, Dogri, Punjabi. You have got many languages. Pahadi and Gojri too are spoken here in the state, in the UT of Jammu and Kashmir. And similarly, we have got this bordering union territory has got good opportunity to flourish. You have got many activities which are pursued in the field of agriculture, in the field of horticulture, as well as many cereals are being grown here. And as you already know, that the state of Jammu and Kashmir is very famous on the tourism map, and people from all over the world, they visit this place to enjoy the beauty of this place, which provides the cultural heritage, the religious heritage, the beauty, the picnic spots, also beauty spots. There are trekking routes, and it's a paradise for trekkers also. And this state of this UT of Jammu and Kashmir provides a complete package to the visitors, and whosoever visits this place is never disappointed by the hospitality that is given by the people of the UT of Jammu and Kashmir. Similarly, the state of Tamil Nadu is also a very old state with its own history, with its own famous cultural traditions, and with the rich the heritage, various activities which they organize. They speak, they have their own languages, they pursue their own traditions and culture. And I hope that the program under programs which are expected to be organized in the near future under Ek Bharat Shrisht Bharat scheme would really enlighten and educate our students about the cultures of both the states, and about the traditions of both the states, and would really help in enforcing that unity of thought, unity of ideas, and unity of feelings among the people of Jammu and Kashmir, and also the people of Tamil Nadu. My best wishes to the organizers, and thank you very much for being a part of this program and this scheme.
It's time to honor our IQAC coordinator, Mrs. P. Selvi, Head of the Department of English, Arulmigu Palani Andava Arts College for Women, Palani, Tamil Nadu, who is the initiator of this Ek Bharat Shreshtha Bharat Club of APAC. Really, I am very happy to honor ma'am. Next, I welcome Dr. Yogesh Kumar Sharma, Assistant Professor in Philosophy, NCC Officer and Nodal Officer of EBSB Club, Government Degree College, Poonch, to deliver a welcome address. Please, sir.
Very warm good morning to all of you. It is Dr. Yogesh Kumar Sharma, Assistant Professor in Philosophy, NCC Officer and Nodal Officer, Ek Bharat Shreshtha Bharat Club, Government Degree College, Poonch. Extend my warm welcome on behalf of Professor M.H. Shah, Principal, GDC, Poonch, and Professor Dr. N. Pavaneshwari, Principal, APA College for Women, Palani, Tamil Nadu, and Dr. R. Kalaya Rasi, Nodal Officer, Ek Bharat Shreshtha Bharat, APA College for Women, Tamil Nadu. It is a matter of great honor to welcome Professor Dr. Lalit Mangotra, an eminent Dogri writer who untiringly working for the promotion and development of Dogri literature. Dr. Lalit received Sahitya Academy Award 2011. He is also awarded by Best Book Award in Dogri in 2000 and many other awards. Professor Lalit Ji also achieved certain other distinctions such as Member of Executive Board of Sahitya Academy, New Delhi for 2 terms, that is 10 years. He remained convener of Dogri Advisory Board in Sahitya Academy, New Delhi 2003 to 2007 and 2013 to till date. He remained member Council for Promotion of Indian Languages, Ministry of Human Resource and Development, Government of India. He also remained member Press Council of India 2 terms, that is 6 years. He also remained member of 10-member Indian delegation of writers to China. He also remained member of 7-member Indian writers delegation to Japan. He also remained member Central Committee J&K Academy of Arts, Culture and Languages. He was also a member of Advisory Council of J&K government. Professor Mangotra written prolifically in various genres of Dogri, including short stories, one-act plays, essays, and literary criticisms. Some of his most famous books are Zameen, Jeene di Kaid, Dogri Sahitya, Hello Maya, and many other writings. Besides all these works, he has also performed an exceptionally different task for the development of Dogri language. He is a professor and an expert in physics, and as a expert in physics, he done a wonderful job by localizing 11 computer softwares in Dogri. He also created an online Dogri English Dogri dictionary. Now I feel privileged to extend my warm welcome to Dr. S.M. Shahani, convener in Touch Jammu chapter, former Director Tourism Jammu, who will deliver a talk on treasures in Jammu and Kashmir on 19th of May 2021. I heartily welcome Professor Khadam Hussain, convener IQAC, Government Degree College Punch, and his counterpart in APA College for Women, Plane, Tamil Nadu. It is my pleasure to welcome my colleagues, associate professors, assistant professors, and other members of teaching faculty, Government Degree College Punch. Other colleges of Jammu University, Cluster University, Government College for Women, Parade Ground Jammu, as well as Jammu Central University. I extend my warm welcome to the professors, assistant professors, associate professors of APA College for Women, Plani, Tamil Nadu, and other colleges from Tamil Nadu. I extend my warm welcome to Professor Dr. A.D. Padmashri, Assistant Professor of History, Jayaraj Anna Pakyam College, Perikulam, Thanni, Tamil Nadu, who will discuss with us the art of living in Tamil Nadu. I also welcome Dr. M. Vijay Shanti, Assistant Professor, Department of History, Fatima College, Madurai, Tamil Nadu. She will discuss with us the culture and heritage of Tamil Nadu. I welcome Professor Shahzad Bande, Head Department of History, Government Degree College Punch, who will discuss the art of living in Jammu and Kashmir. I would like to welcome Mrs. J. Sharmila, Assistant Professor, Department of History, Doak College, Madurai, Tamil Nadu. I extend my sincere welcome to the professors, assistant professors, and associate professors from different colleges and universities of India. I extend my warm and loving welcome to NCC cadets, NSS volunteers, and other students of Government Degree College Poonch, Jammu and Kashmir, and APA College for Women, Pilani, Tamil Nadu. Thank you, very welcome to all of you again in the program. Thank you very much.
Assistant Professor of History, Jayaraj Annabakyan College for Women, Variagulam, Theni, Tamil Nadu. First of all, I would like to thank the Principal Dr. N. Bhuvaneshwari, Arulmigu Palaniyandavar College, Palani, the Organizing Secretary, Lieutenant Dr. R. Kalayarasi, Arulmigu Palaniyandavar College NCC Coordinator, for giving me this wonderful opportunity to this national webinar. Here I am going to share some points about the art of living in Tamil Nadu. Tamil Nadu is a classical land. Tamil Nadu is a southern state of India, which is one of the oldest civilizations in the world. Out of 74 million Tamil people in the world, around rest of the people scattered in different parts of India and the world. Banani Rai says that to live your life in trust, in love, in compassion is an art that makes you truly happy. If you live your life in this manner, you will have nothing to regret when you die. Tamil living art is rooted in the arts and ways of life of the Tamil people. Tamil culture is expressed in language, literature, music, dance, folk arts, martial arts, painting, sculpture, architecture, sports, media, customs, celebrations, philosophy, religions, traditions, rituals, organization, science and technology. Ancient Tamil grammar, the 10 anthologies 10 பாட்டு, the 8 anthologies 8 தொகை shed light on early religion of ancient Dravidian people. Lord Murugan was glorified as the god of war, who is ever young and resplendent, as the favored god of the Tamil. Sivan was also seen as the supreme god. Early iconography of Murugan and Shivan and their association with native flora and fauna goes to the Indus Valley civilization. The most popular deity is Murugan. He is known as the patron of god of the Tamils and is also called Tamil Kadavul, that is Tamil god. In addition, the tradition Murugan is the youngest son of Ganesha. He is called as Pillayar, and it is different from the North Indian tradition, which represents Murugan as the eldest son. The goddess Parvati is often depicted as the goddesses with the green skin in Tamil Hindu tradition. The worship of Amman, also called Mariamman, is thought to have been derived from the ancient mother goddesses, also very common. Kannaki, the heroine of the Silappatikaram, worshipped as Patni by Tamil people. In rural Tamil Nadu, many local deities called Ayyanas are thought to the spirit of local heroes who protect the village from harm. Their worship often centers around Nadukal, that is Veerakal, stones erected many of heroes who died in battle. This form of worship is mentioned frequently in classical ancient Tamil traditions. In addition, there are many temples and devotees of Vishnu, Shiva, Ganapati and other Hindu deities. The most important Tamil festivals are Pongal, that is a harvest festival that occurs in mid of the January, and Puthandu, the Tamil New Year, which occurs on 14th April. Both are celebrated by almost all the Tamil people regardless of their religion. The ancient period of Tamil Nadu is called as the Sangam period. During this period, the civilization of the Tamils was fully developed. It is possible to know from the Sangam literature that the three empires, Chera, Chola, and Pandya, were located during the Sangam period. The kings who ruled these three empires benefited and exalted their country. Welfare of the country, even though a power struggle was going on between each king. The role of the people is essential in the politics of this age. So it is very important to know about the lifestyle of the people of that time. The first Sangam sat for 4,440 years and was presided over by the sage Agastya, the legendary progenitor of the Tamil language. His book, The Agasthyam, was the most important text of this first Sangam. This legendary first work of early Tamil literature has almost entirely been lost except for a few verses that are quoted in commentaries dating back to the medieval period. This first Sangam was convened in a city to the south of the city by the sea. The second Sangam convent in a city on the eastern coast of the Tamil region, a legendary city called as Kabadapuram. This Sangam supposedly sat for 3,700 years before Kabadapuram was destroyed by a flood. The Tolkappiyam, which is the earliest Tamil grammar composed by Tolkappiyar, the supposed disciple of Agastya. The third Sangam gave literary evidence of the lost continent of Kumarikandam and the historical writings based on them. Many of them refer to the lost Tamil lands and to the deluges which ancient peoples believed had swallowed those lands. The Silappatikaram, a well-known Tamil literary work, for instance, mentions the river Parali and many hills being submerged by the raging sea. The Kalitogai, another literary Tamil work, specially refers to a Pandyan king losing territories to the sea and compensating by loss by conquering new territories from the Chera and Chola rulers. In his commentary on Tolkappiyam, Nachinarkiniyar mentioned that the sea submerged 49 nadus, that is called districts, in the Kumari river. At some point after the Sangam period, two epic narratives were written. First one is Silappatikaram, that is the tale of an anglet, written by Ilango Adigal, and another one closely linked work, Manimegalai, the named after his heroine, written by Seethalai Satanar. While Tirukural, penned by Tamil servant given an encyclopedic formula for ethical living to the ancient Tamil people. During the Sangam period, the country was divided according to the nature of the land and the people and had their way of life. It was classified into 5 categories, that is called Thinais. It is based on the season of the land. The Tolkappiyam mentioned that each of these Thinai had an associated deity, such Seiyan in Kurunchi god, that is the hilly area, Tirumal in Mullai god, that is the forest area, Vendan the Marudam god, that is the plain area, Kottavai in Palai god, that is the desert area, and Kadalon in the Neidal, that is the sea coast. Four lands of Kurunji, Mullai, Marudam, and Neidal would earn a living, fall in love, get married, and enjoy home life. Home life was greatly appreciated at that time. They were the best at home, as Avayar mentions in the Kondai Vendan. That was the Tamil literary work. It deals with an Illaram or Nallaram. That is the family life. This is evidenced by the Sangam literature such as Nattinai, Kurundogai, Aingurunoru, Kalitogai, and Agananoru. In Sangam era, Tamil people lived their life as arranged by elders or decided by the own wish of adults. They also followed something called flap climbing, that is air tazhuvudal. It is customary for a man with the woman he loves, with the woman he loves, with the woman he loves, with the woman he loves. He made a horse out of palm tree and sat on it and held in his hand a flag in the shape of his girlfriend. The village boys would pull the horse. This is also called as flap climbing. That is called mentioned in air tazhuvudal. Then food style of the Tamilians. The ancient Tamils used rice as their special food. Various varieties of paddy were grown in Tamil Nadu. The people of Sangam period added pepper, mustard, salt, tamarind and butter to their diet. They also have jackfruit, banana and mango, that is mukkanigal. They also included lentils in their diet. Feeding habits were widespread in ancient Tamil Nadu. Rabbit, fish, crabs, chickens, etc. add to their food. And also their practice of drinking toddy was very widespread in ancient times. In particular, the king, Panar, Pulavar, Kuttar, Puranar and Viraliyar. They had naturally acquiring fruits, coconuts and leftovers as well as teral. The teral is called as clear wine, brought on board by the Greeks and distilled wine. Evidence of the consumption of wine brought by the Javanese through a vessel in twin jars was found in the Arikemede pits. Then caste system. During the Sangam period in Tamil Nadu, many clans seemed to adapt to the occupations of the people. Idayar, Ulavar, Eenar, Kammiyar, Kuyavar, Kuravar, Kuttar, Nigar and Vetuvar. They appeared as many clans. There was no barrier between them to get married. Each clan functioned as an integral part of Tamil Nadu. And then education system. The Sangam period Tamils were well aware of the importance of education. Education was something common to all. An educator can be a king. No restraint was seen at that time. Anyone can study in everywhere. In every town there were educated accountants. The Tamil literary work Thirukadugam points out that the need for an accountant to teach education in every town. And then trade and commerce. The Sangamese people had trading contacts with the Mediterranean world. Greek, Rome, Egypt, China, Southeast Asia, Sri Lanka and Tibetan. Internal trade also flourished, connecting different urban areas. The history of trade dealt with the Southeast Asian countries and Yavanas in the southeastern coast of India, also called the Coromandel Coast. Flanking the present of Tamil Nadu based the literary and archaeological sources. The archaeological excavations and explorations at various sites have also yielded the artifacts conforming to the trading relations between the Tamil regions and the other countries. The discovery of coin hoards at many places also attests this fact. Ancient port cities are excavated in the various departments like Archaeological Survey of India, Tamil Nadu State Department Archaeology, University of Madras, Chennai, Tamil University Tanjavur and Pondicherry University, Pondicherry. These universities are excavated in Kaveripum called as Kaveripum Pattinam and also Arikemede and Alangangulam and most important Sangam literature mentioned and the site Kodumanal. These sites are yielded the important artifacts. Moreover, the archaeological finds from the surface of excavations provide excellent collaborative evidence for the Indo-Roman contacts. They have come from almost every district of Tamil Nadu from Madras city. Mambalam in the north, east to Rameshwaram Alangangulam side, in the south and Karur and Coimbatore on the west. Kerala also, the land of the Cheras which formed the part of Tamilagam, has yielded quite a few Roman coin hazards. These coins range practically from the time of Augustus to Nero, though a few coins for the later period have also been. Again, two coins of Byzantine dynasty also discovered. One belonging to Valentine have been found in stratified excavation at Alangangulam on the Pandyan coast. This world indicates the revival or continuity of the trade contacts with Roman world even during the Byzantine period. Then the three kingdoms also ruled in Tamil Nadu. From 580 BCE to 300 CE, the greatest accomplishments of the kingdoms of the early Chera, Chola and Pandya kingdom. It included brick shrines to deities Murugan, Shivan, Amman and Vishnu. Several of these have been unearthed near Adichanallur, Kaverippumpattinam and Mahabalipuram. And the construction of plains of these sites of worship were shared to some detail in various poems of Sangam literature. Several brick structures dating to the Sangam era have been across Tamil Nadu such as Keeladi, Adichanallur and Kodumanal. These findings at these sites indicate that the buildings were built using burnt bricks. The Pallavas ruled from 600 to 900 AD and their greatest constructed accomplishments are the single rock temples in Mahabalipuram and their capital Kanchipuram. The earliest examples of Pallava constructions are rocket temples dating from 610 to 690 CE and structural temples between 690 to 900 CE. A number of rocket cave temples bear the inscription of the Pallava king Mahendravarman I and his successors. The greatest accomplishments of the Pallava architecture are the rocket group of monuments at Mahabalipuram. The rocket and structural temples are significant part of some of the mandapa are some of the features of the early Pandyan temples. The Shiva temples have a Nandi bull sculpture in front of the Mahamandapa. In the later stages of Pandya's rule, finely sculptured ideals, gopurams and vimanas were developed. Meenakshi Amman temple in Madurai and Nelliyappa temple in Tirunelveli were built the reign of the Pandyas. The Chola kings ruled from 848 AD to 1280 AD in Tamil Nadu. Rajaraja Chola I and his son Rajendra Chola, who built temples such as the Brigadiswara temple of Tanjavur, that is the famous temple in Tamil Nadu, and the Brigadiswara temple of Kangakonda Cholapuram, the Airavasthavara temple of Darasram and the Sarabeswara temple, also called Kambakeshwara temples being located near Kumbakonam. Moreover, the Tamil people also paid a great deal attention of the physical care and development of the body. The people believed that looking after the body was a very important aspect of life, and if the body was not carefully tended to, all the education and wealth gathered in life was a little use. Hence, in the olden days, Tamil people encouraged youth to get involved in games, sports and various kinds of physical activities. There were many exercise centers in Kanyakumari, including Tirunelveli and also some other districts of Tamil Nadu. Kalari is a word used to denote physical training centers and martial art training centers. The teachers who train the students in these arts known as these physical training activities were mostly popular with the young men. Men had the duty to protect the motherland and hence needed to be well informed about martial arts. During the time of peace and war, they kept their physical fitness at optimum level by involving in competitions and tournaments of all the sports activities. Various martial arts including Adimurai, Kuttuvarisai, Varmakalai, Silambam, Adidadi, Mallitha and the Kalripaitu are the practiced in Tamil Nadu and also part of Kerala. The warm-up phase includes yoga, meditation and breathing exercise. Silambam originated in ancient Tamilakam and was patronized by the Pandyans, Cholas and Cheras, who ruled over this region. Silappatikaram, Tamil literature from sale of Silambam instructions, weapons and equipments to foreign traders. Since the early Sangam age, there was a warlike culture in South India. Wars was regarded as an honorable sacrifice and fallen heroes and kings were worshipped in the form of a hero stone that is called as Nadukal. During the Pallava and Chola period, there was a revival of interest in developing the martial arts. The Pallava reign saw a great improvement in the art of wrestling. Narasimhavarman, a Pallava king, was an expert in this art and had the title Mamallan. Mamallan is meaning a great wrestler. Then next another one important martial arts is Silambatam. The Silambatam is a very popular form of martial art which has survived the test of time. The noise created by the movement of the pole used in this combat. The Silambatam generally youth and middle-aged men involved in this. They fight with long bamboo poles. During the fight, one has to protect oneself from being hit by the opponent's pole. It is used for self-protection and exercise. Eye, leg and hand coordination is very, very important. Movements of beating, swinging and the pole and circling the pole are involved. Quick steps, jumping and running are also essential. It can be practiced one against one or one against many. Success is indicated when one manages to knock from the opponent's hand. Then it is very care is given to the practice of preventing the opponent's pole from touching one's body and also to touching others' body with one's pole. In Tamil Nadu, Silambatam is popular in the southern districts, particularly in Tirunelveli district. The Tirunelveli district has given birth to many famous Silambata experts and kings like Kattapomman, Omaithurai and Maruduvandi, etc. The person who teaches this art is known as Silambam Vattiyar or Asan. This art was practiced as game during festival times accompanied by song and music. Silambam's main focus is on the bamboo stuff. The length of the stuff depends on the height of the practitioner. Ideally, it should just touch the forehead about 3 fingers from the head. 8 meters. Different lengths may be used depending on the situation. For instance, the Sedukuchi or 3 feet stick can be easily concealed. Separate practice is needed for stuffs of different lengths. The stuff is preferably made from bamboo. The next another one important is Mallyuddham. Mallyuddham is the important martial arts in Tamil Nadu. This is similar to the Western wrestling. It is placed among the 64 arts listed in ancient literature. That is called Ayakkalaigal 64. The art reached its zenith in Tamil Nadu during the Pallava period. During mid-Chola period, Mallas went to Sri Lanka to participate in tournaments and the art was taught in ancient days by persons belonging to the. Here the opponents wrestle with each other attempting to push the other down. Various rules of the game apply to the procedure. In a tournament, wrestlers travel far and wide, challenging local wrestlers, and if they win, the name and fame of their own town and area. The next one, Adidadi. It is not used weapons. with an emphasis on lethal and practice unarmed combat. Adidadi practice first learn all aspects of striking, grappling, and counters. Adidadi has also got a very strong sports component to it, and practitioners would often test their skills in prize fights during the festival time. Erumaram is skill and skill and skill and perseverance. At the top of the tall pole, a pot filled with colored water is tied. The bark of the pole is stripped off and the trunk is rubbed with oil to mark it as slippery as possible. The youths try to clamber up the pole while the others stand round them and pour water on them and shout to distract them. The successful youth is the first one to reach the pot and break it. The successful one gets gifts, money, and so on. This is still considered as one of the activities of courage in Tamil Nadu. Varmakala is an Indian traditional art of vital points. It originated in present-day Kanyakumari, Tamil Nadu. It combines massage, alternate in, 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 in which the body's pressure points, that is called varmam, that are manipulated to heal or cause harm. The healing application called Vaidya Murai. It is the part of Siddha medicine, that is called Siddha Vaidyam. Its compact application known as Adimurai can be done either empty-handed or with a blunt weapon such as a stick or staff. This Siddha Vaidya combat called Varma Adi meaning pressure point sticking. Varma Kala is usually taught in the advanced stage of Adimurai, Kalaripaitu and Silambam. It is famous for Tamil Nadu and Kerala. Strikes are targeted at the nerves, veins, tendons, soft tissues or ligaments, organs and joint bones. Folklore traces Varmakala is to Sanmurugan, 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 Murugan, Murugan. While discussed as an old man, Murugan passed knowledge of 108 Varmams to the sage Agastya, who then recorded it and disseminated the skill among his students. Nadas claims Varmakalai was given to them by Agastya. Siddha medicine is also attributed to Agastya, with numerous other scattered references to Varmam in Vedic and epic sources. It is certain that Tamil Nadu's early fighters knew and practiced attacking and defending vital points. Then another important dance styles of the arts. Famous Tamil dance styles are commonly used as Bharatanatyam. That is the classical dance, but are based on older temple dance forms known as Chadar Kacheri and practiced by courtesans and a class of women known as Devadasis. The next one important one, Karahattam. That is the Tamil ancient folk dance. Karahattam is an ancient folk dance of Tamil Nadu performed in praise of the rain goddesses Mariamman. The ancient Tamil epic says that this type of dance derived from Bharatanatyam and a mixture of multiple forms of Tamil dance. It forms like Bharatanatyam postures and mudras. The next one, Terukuthu. That is street dance. The Terukuthu literally meaning street play. It is a form of village theatre or folk opera. It is traditionally performed in village squares with no sets of very simple songs and dances. And the stories can be either religious or secular. The performances are not formal and performers often interact with the audience, mocking them or involving them in the dialogue. Terukuthu has in recent times, it has been very successfully adapted to convey social messages such as abstinence and anti-caste criticism, as well as information about legal rights, and has spread to other parts of India. The next one, Tevarattam. It is a dance of warriors. Tevarattam is a Tamil word derived from the words Tevar and Attam. Tevar means the god or the king or the warriors. Attam means dance. Traditionally, it was performed by the kings and warriors dynasty. Later, it was danced by the some group of peoples of Maravar clan belongs to Mukkulathor community, who is referred as Tevar at present in Madurai. Parayattam, that is a folk dance. Parayattam is a Tamil dance form that Tamil culture entices very people beat the drum and dance to its rhythms. Parai means the drum. It has another name, Tapattam. The Parayattam is performed on the drum beats, and to generate drum beats people use two sticks, one longer and thinner than the other stick. This drum is also used in temples to summon the deities. The next one, Kavadiyattam. The Kavadiyattam is the Tamil dance for Tamil god Murugan, dedicated to bright yellow, dressed in bright yellow or saffron robes. Devotees performing Kavadiyattam. They apply vibhuti or sacred ash all over their body. Each one carries on his shoulder an ornate kavadi, a huge bow richly decorated with peacock feathers. It is believed that the peacock is the vehicle of Sri Subramanya. Kavadiyattam literally means dance carrying a kavadi. Kavadis are usually of different sizes and shapes. Then Kummiyattam, that is a female folk dance. Kummiyattam is a folk dance for female, only the popular in Tamil Nadu. This dance mostly by Tamil women during the festival period. Dancing may different. In some places it is very simple with rhythmic clapping or beating of the drums. In other places, dancers often accompanied by songs called Kummi songs. It is a festival dance. And then Pommalattam. Pommalattam are the puppetry in the state of Tamil Nadu. It is one of the oldest forms of storytelling. Tamil Nadu is a birthplace of various arts, entertainments and dances. The puppet show of Pommalattam is performed in temples during the festival times. The performances last for a week or 10 days, usually continuing overnight. The next one, Mailattam, that is peacock dance. Mailattam is an artistic and religious form of dance performed in the Hindu temples of Tamil Nadu in relevance to Lord Murugan. Mailattam performers wear costumes from head to toe like peacock with feathers that can be opened and closed using a thread. And the next one is Pambu Attam, that is snake dance. Pambu Attam is a folk dance from Tamil country. Snakes considered as the protecting divinity which safeguards the health and prosperity. Snakes are also related to the Hindu deity Murugan. Usually, girls perform this dance with a snake skin-like costume. The performer stimulates snake movements, writhing, creeping, and making quick biting movements with the head and hands. The hands are also held together to look like the hood of a cobra. The next one, Oilattam. Oilattam is a folk dance with origins in the Madurai region, particularly performed in Madurai district, Tirunelveli district and Tiruchirappalli. It was traditionally a dance with two kerchiefs perform rhythmic steps to the musical accompaniment, with the number of dancers increasing over the past 10 years. And then Poikal Kudirai Attam, that is false-legged horse dance. Poikal Kudirai Attam is one of the folk dances in Tamil Nadu. It is a type of dance performed with a dummy horse having a gap inside to that a person can fit into it to perform the dance. This show is performed by men as well as women. This artistic performance is generally arranged during religious festivals and provides entertainment to the masses. The next one, very important one, Jallikattu. Jallikattu is a sport conducted as a part of Mattu Pongal. Jallikattu is also known as Yeru Talludal or Manchuvirattu. Jallikattu is derived from means tie. Kattu means tie. Kattu means tie. Kattu means tie. Kattu means tie. It means a bundle of coins is tied to the bull's horns. In older times, the tamer sought to remove this bundle from the animal's head to win gold or silver. He would be called brave and valorous and would be also sometimes be rewarded with a bride. Jallikattu is believed to have been practiced since at least 2500 years. When the government tried to ban Jallikattu, the Tamil youths were protest against the government. They got huge victory to their heritage. The Jallikattu ban matter is to know about all the Indians and all over the world. In modern days, strongly rooted in the genetical values. Yadum Ure, Yavarum Kelir, and Pirapokkum Yella Virkam are the famous quotes in Tamil poets. The art of living is Tamil people representing above quotes. Yadum Ure, Yavarum Kelir, which means every village is my village. And Pirapokkum Yella Virkam means all are equal by birth. There is no discrimination by the caste, creed, religion, race and nationality. The Tamil society's art of living is not depend on the necessity of survival but also spreading and securing the human values and standing for human rights. Their art of living is teaching the world to love all flora and fauna. As per their lasting genetics, they proclaim their uniqueness to the world. From this session, Tamil people live in Tamil society and the world. Moreover, they spread their fame across the globe. Their art of living is very civilized and unique. I believe that this type discussion will help to connect culture and will bring richness in our unity. Once again, my sincere thanks to conveners, APA College Principal Dr. N. Bhuvaneshwari, Government Degree College Poonch Principal Professor Musarraf Hussain Shah, and the organizing secretaries Lieutenant Dr. R. Kalayarasi and Dr. Yogesh Kumar Sharma for giving me the opportunity to serve as the resource person in this remarkable 3-day national webinar. Thank you.